Hello, sixth graders. Welcome to our math lesson for today. Today we're going to take a look at lesson 105. It's entitled Using Proportions to Solve Percent Problems. And our lesson for today is going to begin on page 548. Now, to start off our lesson today, we're going to kind of review exactly what a percentage is. Hopefully you guys remember that the word percent actually means out of 100. And that's really crucial to remember anytime you deal with percentages, but especially when we're talking about today. The word percentage means out of 100. So we know that a percentage can be expressed as a fraction as long as you put the 100 as the denominator. So for example, if I have 30% and I want to write that as a fraction, that's going to equal 30 over 100. Now, I know that this is not in lowest terms, but the good news is that we don't have to worry about putting it in lowest terms today to figure out how we're going to use that to help solve our problems. But I do want to make sure we know that the word 30% means 30 out of 100. Okay, so a percentage can also be regarded as a ratio, kind of like the ratio boxes we've been doing the last few lessons, in which 100 is going to represent the total number in a group that is shown like in this chart below. So for example, if I had 30%, that means that's the percentage that I do know. 30% is the percentage that I do know. So the first column here is going to represent the percentage. And the percentage that I do know, I'm going to put that number right there, 30%. Well, if that's 30%, the stuff that I don't know about, the other, which would be 70%, is going to go in the second box here. So 30% is known. The other 70% is not known, giving us a total of 100%. So when you're doing these ratio boxes, when you add these two columns right here, these two right here, it should equal 100. If this doesn't equal 100, we are definitely going to do something wrong today. So I want to make sure this equals 100. And then over here, we're going to fill in any information from the word problem. And from there, we're going to write out our equal proportions. Again, we may have to do cross multiplication to divide, or what are we multiplying across? And that's what we're going to use to help us solve our particular problem for today. So let's take a look at our first problem here. It says 30% of the cars in the parade are antique cars. Now, I'm just going to stop right there. 30% of the cars in the parade are antique cars. So you're noticing I do know a percentage that is antique. There's also a percentage that is not antique, and then the total. Already I know that 30% of the cars, they are antique. So I'm going to go ahead and write 30 in this box right here. Now, if 30% are antique, all I have to do is take that and subtract it from 100 to figure out how many of them are not antique. And doing that math, I know that there are 70% that are not antique, giving me a grand total of 100%. So already all I did with that first sentence there is that first sentence helped me fill out this first column. Now I'm going to read the rest to help me figure out where I need to fill out over here. It says if 12 vehicles are antique cars, then how many vehicles are in the parade in all? And anytime you see that word in all, that's a fancy way of writing total. So I know that there are 12 vehicles that are antique. So I'm going to put that 12 in this row here because this 12, this is the antique row. Okay, now I don't know how many of them are antique. This is one I don't know. And I don't know the total. When it says how many vehicles are there in all, I want to know what this number is right here. I actually want to know this total number. So I'm going to go ahead and put an X right there and say, this is the number that I actually do want to find. I don't necessarily have to find how many non-antiques there are. The question is not asking me to find that. The question is just asking me how many total. So in essence, it's almost like this line here, I don't need this now. This is the line I don't need to answer. And so I'm going to set this up looking like a proportion. So this would be 30 over 100. Okay, I'm going to put 30 over 100 equals, and then I'm going to put 12 over x. Okay, so now I could try to figure out, is there a number that I can multiply, 12 by to get 30 or whatever. That's hard to do, but I could reduce this if I wanted to. One way to solve this problem is actually reduce this problem. Because if I reduce this problem, this would actually be 3/10, wouldn't it? Because I divided both of them by 10. And then if I did 3, what would I multiply 3 by to get 12? I'd multiply that by 4. Okay, so because 3 times 4 gives me 12. That means I'm going to multiply the bottom number by 4 as well. So I go 10 times 4. So then how many total cars are all together? 40 cars. Now, another way you could have done this is just by doing cross multiplication. I could have done 100 times 12, which is 1,200. Okay, and then I'd take the 1,200 and divide that by 30. And we've done these types of problems before, 6th grade. Ignore the zeros for a moment. Ignore the 0 here, ignore the 0 there. I have 12 divided by 3, which is 4. If there are 2 zeros on this side, 1 0 on this side, if I'm dividing, I subtract those two numbers because 2 minus 1 is 1, which means I'd add 1 0. Again, my final answer is 12. So there's a couple of ways you can find the answer once you finally have written it as a proportion. But we got to get it written as a proportion first, and I think using this box is going to help us. Here's another problem. Only 40% of the team members played in the game. I'll stop right there. I already know that there's going to be some people playing. That means there's going to be some people that are not playing, and there's a total. 40% of the members played in the game. So I'm going to go ahead and put the 40 right there in the played column. And if 40 of them did play, I'm going to subtract that from 100 to find out how many did not play. If I take 100 minus 40, that's going to give me 60. So 60% did not play, giving me a grand total of 100%. So already I have the first column filled in, and I just read the first sentence. Now the question keeps going on by saying, if 24 team members did not play, then how many did play? So now if I look at this question right, I know how many of them did not play, which is 24. I'm going to go ahead and put that there. The question's asking for how many actually did play. So I want to find this number here, which means I don't even need to know this number here. So this is going to be the row that I don't need to worry about. And I'm just going to worry about this row right here. Okay. And so I could, again, like I did before, write 40 over 60. And maybe to help you, you know what? Maybe we should reduce that. Maybe we should divide both those numbers by 10. If we divide both those numbers by 10, you could have 4/6. And then that's going to equal some number over 24. Okay? And so what number would I multiply 6 by to get 24? Well, I multiply that 6 times 4. Which means I'm going to multiply my numerator by the exact same number, multiply that by 4 as well. So 4 times 4, that means that 16 people actually played in the game. Now again, if you didn't want to do it that way, you could do cross multiplication. You can do 24 times 4, which would get you 96, and then take 96 and divide that by 6. And I think, again, you're still going to get 24 as your answer. So again, a couple ways you can get your particular answer. Another problem. Buying the shoes on sale, Nathan paid $45.60. So now what they did is they actually gave you the actual number first. So how much did Nathan actually pay? Well, he actually paid $45.60. So this is how much he actually paid. So we're going to put $45.60 in this column right here. And this happens to be 60% of the full price. So Nathan paid 60%. I'm going to put 60 here. Okay. And so if he paid 60%, the percentage he did not pay, well, I subtract that from 100. That means he did not pay 40%. And then we know that this total is going to be 100%. Okay. Now, if I look at the question, what was the full price of the shoes? So I want to figure out what was the total price, which means I don't need to know how much he did not pay. So it looks like this is the column that is going to get crossed out. So then if I want to write that as a proportion, I'd write 60 over 100, or again, like I said before, if you want to put it in lowest terms, you can. If you want to write 60 over 100, some people might actually go ahead and put that as 6 over 10 or 3 over 5. However you want to do it, that's fine. But that would equal $45.60 over X. Okay. Now in this particular problem, I think I'm going to have to multiply. I got to multiply these two numbers together. So I'd multiply 4,560 times 100. Well, since there's two zeros here, that means all I have to do is just move the decimal 2 places to the right because I want to make it bigger. That would be 4,560. And I'm going to take that answer and divide that by 60. Okay, divide that by 60. And so when I do that, if I were to divide that, that's going to tell me that the answer is 76 when I finally do the division. I'm going to speed things up and just say that's 76. So the answer would be, how much would he pay? Well, then the answer is going to be $76. So make sure you have that dollar sign in there. So, okay. Let's do one more problem before I give you your assignment. And this is actually letter B in your practice set for today. So this would be a good one for you to follow along with because it's going to be one of the problems in your assignment. So 70% of the team members played in the game. All right. So I have how many people played in the game? Okay, 70%. What percentage did not play? Okay, that'd be 30%. 30% did not play. So that, again, what's going to be the total percentage? And it should be 100%. Okay, continue on. It says if 21 members actually played, so here's my played column. I'm going to put 21 here. How many members did not play? I want to figure out this number right there, which means I do not need to know the total number of people that played. This happens to be the column that I don't need this time. So then I'm going to go ahead and write this down as a proportion, and I'm going to go ahead and divide both of those by 10. If I divide both of those by 10, reducing it, that'd be 7/3. And I think that's going to help me when I go to write my proportion, because now it makes it a little easier to say, wait a minute, I don't know, I can't multiply anything 21 to equal 70, but I know I can multiply something by 7 to equal 21. So it'd be 7 times 3. And so whatever I multiply the numerator by, I want to make sure I multiply that denominator by the same thing. So I'm taking 3 times 3. So then how many people did not play in the game? 9 people did not play, and that 9 would be my answer. So I want to make sure to put on there 9 team members would be the label for that particular problem. All right, so I hope that this lesson you're able to help understand how to do this particular problem. So let's take a look at your assignment for today. Your assignment is going to be to do pages 550 through 552, and we're looking at letters A through 25. And I did want to make special attention to take a look at problem letter E. Yes, I do want you to do that. If you look at the problem on page 550, it does say, create and solve your own percentage problem using the method that is shown in this lesson. So what they're asking you to do would be to come up with a problem that's very similar to this, your own percentage problem. It could look something like this, which has a percentage, or something like this that has a percentage. Any of the problems that we've done before, just don't use them word for word, but I want you to create your own problem, but I also want you to solve it. Tell me what the answer is going to be as well. Okay, so this is going to be worth a couple points, one for creating the problem and one for solving it. If you have any questions about this lesson, please feel free to go back and watch the video again to clear up any things that you might not have been able to understand. As always, please reach out to me if you have any questions on any of the problems or the assignment itself. Good luck today, boys and girls. I hope you do well, and we will see you with the next video.